Malta and Gozo, and welcome to another episode of Lovin Daily. My name is JP, and today I'm joined by Tim Diacono. Today's episode is brought to you by Musica, a major Maltese music festival happening next year in March 2021, celebrating the Maltese language. Now, obviously, we all can't wait for a music festival to start happening next year, especially all the musicians out there, and applications are now open for singers, authors, bands, composers, lyricists, you name it. The applications are now open if you want to be part of this amazing festival happening beginning of next year. Application ends on the 30th of October, so sign up as soon as possible. And if you want to be a part of it, apply at musica.org and show your talent. Today we're also joined by a very special guest, Fabio Spiteri, animal activist and athlete, who will be embarking on his latest challenge next week. But before we get to the interview, here are your 5 headlines for today. Malta's government reveals first post-COVID-19 budget. Active COVID-19 cases in Malta reaches 1,450. Malta-based DJ calls out COVID-19 measures that destroy the clubbing industry. EU to kickstart infringement process against Malta over passport sales. And an umbrella-wielding police officer ferries children from their cars to school to avoid the rain.
Yes, JP. So yesterday, of course, the government launched its budget for 2021. It's the first budget since the COVID-19 pandemic, and a lot of eyes are on the Prime Minister to see what schemes will be announced. Some of the major schemes that were confirmed was the reintroduction of the voucher scheme for every single adult in Malta, but this time with a difference in that 40% of the vouchers will be applicable to retail outlets and services that had to close during the pandemic, during the quasi-lockdown, and the remaining 60% can be spent at restaurants, bars and other touristic establishments. The wage supplement for workers of companies who were most impacted by the pandemic has also been extended until at least March, and there were tax deferrals will continue, moratoria will continue, and there's some more aid being granted to from an educational aspect as well, more medicines on the formula. Now, obviously the government is spending a lot of money here, and in fact they're talking about this as the best budget in Malta's history in terms of direct expenditure into people's pockets, which is true. I mean, these are very unique times. However, the deficit has increased by quite a bit. The debt as a proportion of the economy has also increased. However, in that we've managed to reduce the debt ratio so significantly over the years that our economy can handle this kind of spending without having to introduce any taxes. So, despite the economy being not in such a great state, no new taxes were introduced yesterday, not even on prices of cigarettes or anything like that. The government seems to be quite clearly sticking to its economic model, the so-called Muscatonomics, at all costs, regardless of anything else. At the moment, obviously, we don't know how the world will adapt. They seem confident that a vaccine will be a game changer, but we'll have to wait and see. What did you make of? There was another initiative that you were interested in.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, for the younger generation out there who may not be so in tune as to what the budget entails, I'm sure they were had all their eyes on last night, because students now, or students above the age of 16 who are pursuing a higher education, will be given free internet for a whole year. I guess it's part of an initiative to get people to continue their education, into higher education, and it's quite a cool and nifty incentive for the younger generation to be more engaged with education and whatnot. So I think it's a pretty cool idea, and I'm sure a lot of students will be happy to hear that too. Moving on to our second story today. Malta's active COVID-19 cases has now reached a total of 1,450. Active cases keep rising after 109 new cases were announced yesterday, along with just 6 recoveries. And earlier this morning, there was unfortunately another COVID-19 related death, the 46th death on the island, which was a 72-year-old woman. Condolences to her family. Obviously, a very hard time for them to go through. She was a 46th death, as mentioned before. Obviously, in light of in light of the rise of cases, in light of the second wave, there have been new restrictions, as we've mentioned previously. The 11 p.m. curfew on bars and restaurants, as well as mandatory wearing a face mask, as you can see right here. And interesting enough, there's been kind of a lot of vocal opinions on how to deal with the second wave of COVID-19 pandemic. Medical doctor Frank Portelli suggested that to move the COVID-19 patients from Mater Dei to a specialized hospital. He even offered his St. Philip's Hospital for refurbishment, and he'll loan it out to the government so that they can be moved there, so to stop other people who are non-COVID patients from getting infected. Mm-hmm. What do you make, Tim?
It's the cases are rising. Obviously, the new measures have been introduced. We have to wait at least another 2 weeks to see whether they have had any impact whatsoever. And also that's when probably the recoveries will start rising again. It's also good to note that our death rate overall has actually declined, so that's a small positive to take into account in these times. Whether to go for harsher measures or not, that's debatable, but this leads us right into our next story. Alessia Del Martino, a very popular Malta-based Italian DJ, went on quite an emotional rant about these new measures, about the fact that bars have to close at 11 and that masks have to be worn practically everywhere. And she's basically saying that this is killing her business, killing her industry, forcing her out of work, and for what she's saying is a virus that isn't, in the grand scheme of things, isn't even that deadly. Now, and she's saying, I have a right to live my life. Mm-hmm. I don't think the government should decide what's essential and what isn't. Now, obviously, it's comments and videos like this are quite controversial, because it might come off as a little bit heartless sometimes, or some might think so, that she just cares more about her own entertainment rather than the lives of people. However, it is a reality that people are suffering due to the restrictions, suffering from a very real way. Their whole livelihoods are suffering. They are becoming poorer, and you're going to force someone into poverty, you're going to make them angry, and that's a reality. And that's a reality that the government has to realize. And the longer that these restrictions drag on, the more of these problems is going to have. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in fact, in the budget, the cultural sector wasn't really addressed to a great deal yesterday. So, people like Alessia, DJs, people in the entertainment industry are particularly suffering. It seems they may be suffering for a while longer, as long as this pandemic is here, and maybe even after. Moving to our fourth story today, the EU is to kickstart its infringement proceeding against Malta over the passport sales. Now, the scheme, which was launched in 2013 by Joseph Muscat, has proven highly controversial over the years. Basically, to sum it up, it was a scheme where foreign nationals are able to buy Maltese citizenship for a total of 650,000 euros. Then the family's members could buy it for a fraction of the price at 50,000 euros. It was considered to be quite a lucrative scheme, highly by a lot of people, where it's targeting not just Malta but Cyprus as well for its scheme. What do you make of it, Tim? It obviously was quite controversial because of the transparency issues around it, yes? Yeah, I mean, it's not only that, it's also the fact that we're selling something that's actually a European product. So the moment you sell, this is also always what the issue has been from the very beginning, that the moment we decided to sell our citizenship, we're also deciding to sell European citizenship, because white people, why would third country nationals want a Maltese passport? Very simple, because they want a European passport. Exactly. And getting a Maltese one means you can go and work and live in Germany, in Finland, in Denmark, or any other place across the EU. So this was always what the issue was. Now there were other transparency issues and other allegations of this scheme that didn't exactly help its cause. But at the end of the day, it was always coming to this. The European Commission was never going to allow the scheme to exist for too long. However, the Prime Minister is really defending it to the bone. He's saying that the reason that they're doing this, the European Commission is doing this, is because of the two nationalist MEPs in the European Parliament who are criticising the scheme, which is just ridiculous, as though the European Commission bases its opinions on what Roberta Metsola and David Casa thinks. I mean, I honestly think the Prime Minister should stop preaching to the converted partisan, to the converted partisans, and start, actually addressing the real root of this, which is the fact that we're selling something that is not exactly our own. So moving on, a sweet story emerged yesterday, right? Now we know that, or we should know that community policing is becoming quite a new initiative in Malta that's being extended. It started off in Mellihan, being extended to other localities, and a video emerged yesterday of just what these community policemen do in their everyday lives. So there was a policeman who was literally with an umbrella, and yes, I mean, helping children out. So we're going to be cutting to a video of this of this initiative by this police officer, and then we're going to be moving on to an interview with Fabio Spiteri. But before that, just a reminder that today's episode was brought to you by Musica, a Maltese music festival that will be held in March 2021, which will be celebrating the Maltese language.
Applications, exactly.
Yeah.
Applications are now open for singers, authors, bands, composers, and application closes on the 30th of October. So if you're interested, head over to musica.org and show your time there.
It's also something to look forward to, during while you're sort of just thinking about the pandemic.
And now to the video.
Stiamo alla ġebla.
Good morning. Now we're joined by Fabio Spiteri, athlete and animal activist, who's going to embark on his latest and biggest challenge yet next week. Fabio, do you want to explain to us exactly what it is you're going to be doing next week?
Thanks for inviting me. Mela, I've decided to cycle around Sicily. I've done around Sicily 4 times, but and 6 days and 5 days and 4 days, and in 2018 in 3 days. Actually, 2 persons in the world have tried it in 2 days, and I would like to be the 3rd one. I will arrive in Sicily next Monday, on the 26th, and then decide whether I start on Tuesday or on Wednesday. It all depends on the weather. I try to avoid the rain, because the rain will put a load of fatigue on me. Basically, it's a 1,000-kilometer ride. I try to do it non-stop with least possible stops. I have a crew with me. I have a van. I have the nutritionist. I have a masseur. I have a big team with me. The idea is to do it anything between 48 and 54 hours.
I see. And what inspired you basically to undertake this task? I mean, it's monumental, right? Only 2 people in history have done it before. What inspired you to decide to do this in the first place?
Yes, I'm an ultra triathlete. My races are always over 24 hours. This year, unfortunately, all my races got cancelled due to COVID. Then I saw Neil swimming from Sicily to Malta. Neil is a very good friend of mine. He used to be my swimming coach as well. And as soon as I saw him coming in, I felt, wow, he transferred his energy into me. And I said, yeah, it's about time I can do something as well. It's my character. So I decided to do this around Sicily in 2 days. It's gonna be tough, I know, but I'm ready to do it. Training is done. I'm tapering now.
What's your greatest cycling achievement so far? Like, what do you
It's not just cycling. I'm at the moment I'm the national record holder for the triple Ironman. It's a 12-kilometer swim, and then 540-kilometer bike, and then 126-kilometer run. I've done it in Germany in 45 hours non-stop. So basically, I'm going to transfer the same amount of hours into just cycling. The difficult part is because I'm going to spend 2 days in the same position.
Right.
While when I did the triple Ironman, every 10 or 15 hours I changed position to different sports. This will be tough on my lower back, on my shoulders, but I'm trained now.
I mean, in addition to like the physical aspect of it, obviously it's going to be incredibly painful for you. There's also the mental preparation, right?
Yes.
What goes into preparing for this? I mean, both physically, but more so. Imagine the mental, toll it takes is going to be much more hard. How do you motivate yourself? Let's say you're 30 hours down, it's raining, to keep on going.
Yes, this is something you build up through the years. I've been in sports 25 years now. Ultra athletes, they just numb the pain.
Right.
They just go into like a trance. You just concentrate. You have to convince yourself this is temporary, even though it's 48 hours, but everything is temporary in life. And you just keep on going. You've set a goal, you need to finish it. You train hard, so you need to finish it.
In addition to you're doing it obviously as a personal feat of accomplishing this monumental task, but you're doing it for a great cause. Actually, you're quite passionate about animals and animal welfare and these animal shelters. And this particular challenge, all the donations, everything you're raising are going to various animal shelters around Malta to help them out. What draws you to this specific cause?
I'm a big animal lover. I have 8 pets myself. I have 4 dogs, 2 cats, 2 rabbits. I take the rabbits out with me.
Do they get along with each other?
Yeah, they adapt. And even I've done some. I go to animal shelters just to help out, and seriously, they do a wonderful job with limited resources, and their bills runs into thousands through medicine, vets, food, day-to-day needs. And actually, I came up with the idea. I try to people donate as much as money as possible. I put a target 30K. It would be nice if it would be 100K actually. Yeah. And then I will donate all the money to 15 animal shelters.
Amazing. And 15 animal shelters, like, in terms of like, do you know which shelters you're speaking about yet?
Yes. I have all the list. There are the 4 main ones, and then actually I'm going to distribute money according to the amount of animals they have. Right. If an animal shelter has 50 dogs and the other one has 200 dogs, actually you donate more to the one.
So animal shelters have been warning that they're in quite a dire financial situation. I mean, obviously they require on volunteer work, so it's always quite precarious. But however, since the pandemic, it's become even more. It's become even worse. So and not only that, but not only has the financial situation become worse, but they've also said that we need to adopt more animals because people are letting them go for whatever reason.
Yes, although since COVID arrival, people are adopting more dogs at the moment and cats. Hopefully they will adopt for good, not just for these 2-3 months, and then they decide, no, it's not good for me. But
the issue of animal welfare, like taking care of animals, has become quite prominent over the past few months. There have been several high-profile cases, where animals are being abused, and their owners have been allowed to, get away with it for years and stuff like that. I think animal welfare has become into question a lot. There was a case with Andre Gallia. There was also the case of the Zaytoun dogs, where they were kept upstairs in horrid conditions for months. What do you make of the current situation regarding animal welfare in Malta? Is it taken seriously enough? Are animal welfare doing a good enough job?
In the recent years, they are doing a good job, but there are still more to do. For example, sometimes I say this. I've cycled in Benjamma. There are two dogs in a cage, but actually the cage they measured it and it's okay, as long as they have food and drink. It's okay. Right. So everything is okay. But these dogs are day and night in a cage. So, and I've seen them all year because I cycle most of the time there. So I don't think a dog should be condemned to a cage for all his life. Dogs are not guard dogs. Dogs are a man's best friend. They should be with you on the sofa watching TV, you know, sleeping beside you. That's,
So there's scope for more to be done for sure. We're not
yes, if you need a guard dog, you should replace it with a camera.
Absolutely.
So we wish you the best of luck for this, Fabio.
And if people want to donate to the race, to your challenge next week, how can they do so?
Yes, there's so many numbers. I cannot remember them by, you know. If they go on my Facebook, Fabio Spiteri, they just can keep on going in my profile. I share every day. There's a Revolut number, PayPal, and there are the SMS numbers. They can donate, and hopefully, so far I collected 6K.
Okay, amazing.
I haven't even just started the event. The event will be streamlined as well. There will be. I've got a photographer with me and a videographer who will be streaming bits and pieces of my event, and hopefully people will donate.
And people can track you as well, right?
Yes, I'll have a tracker as well. The link will be on my Facebook page and on my Facebook page. Yes,
perfect.
They can track me. Actually, even there are some Sicilian riders that they're gonna join me for some parts.
Amazing. Well, we wish you the best of luck. Obviously, it's an incredible challenge, but we've seen you done it before in the past with these ultra runs and whatnot, and we have no doubt that you'll be able to complete it next week. And obviously, it's all being done for a great cause. So if you have some spare change or money lying around, and please donate to Fabio's race next week. Fabio, thank you for joining us today. We appreciate you being here. And for everyone else watching, thanks for joining us. Have a day full of loving.